Well, in the same room here, the next session will be on a very interesting topic, carbon neutrality. So do stay with us if you're interested to know more about carbon neutrality, because we're going to move into the panel discussion just right away. For those of you who are staying and who are sitting at the back right now, I encourage you to move forward and come closer to the stage so that you can enjoy the rest of the program. All right, just maybe a few more seconds for our audience to make their way to other rooms that they're interested in visiting. And right away, I'm going to introduce our next panel session moderator on the stage for the next session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. And in this session, we're going to move into our panel discussion. And let me introduce our moderator. He is Mr. Tim Edmonds, Director of PwC, Sustainable Supply Chain, Lead of ESG Strategy. Please welcome Mr. Edmonds. All right, and now over to you, Mr. Edmonds. I'll let you introduce our panelists.
Great. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the panel discussion this afternoon. Slightly dwindled numbers, but that's okay. We'll liven it up with the entertainment. How does that sound? So this afternoon, I'm going to be introducing two fantastic panelists to talk about a really important topic for us here in Hong Kong. We have Raymond Mak, CEO and co-founder of Pharmacy. And we also have Dr. Gloria Yao, who is the program director at Hong Kong RITA, so the Research Institute of Textile and Apparel. So my name is Tim Edmonds. I am from PwC Hong Kong. I head up the Sustainable Supply Chain practice here. And today we wanted to talk about a number of topics. First of all, to start off with why Hong Kong, and then also why carbon neutrality and why it's important right now. So I myself have been involved with InvestHK for over 5 years now and have seen a number of the success stories that they have invested in and grown over the years. So Hong Kong is really an ecosystem for anything related to consumer goods. So in terms of having global head offices, we've got over 1,300 and there is over 2,500 regional offices for a number of companies here. So Hong Kong is a really important hub for not only sourcing operations, but factory operations and design and development as well. So carbon neutrality, let's talk a little bit about that. Carbon neutrality is exactly that. It is using less carbon. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the reduction, the avoidance, the capture, and also offsetting. So we'll be talking about that with the panelists in the discussion. Hong Kong has actually had its carbon peak, so that actually occurred in 2014, and they're on target to hit their 50% reduction in carbon by 2035 and to be fully carbon neutral by 2050, which is actually quite an ambitious goal. We're well on the path to doing that, and it's fantastic to see. So I'm going to start off a little bit now with a video, and then I'm going to jump into the conversation with Raymond and Gloria.
The reason why I love the greens so much is because the same type of greens can be applied in different cuisine. We went to a village in Dongjiang River for a field trip many years ago, and then we found that the vegetables that we experienced there is the best vegetables we have ever seen in our life. That's why we want to use our own knowledge on business and also technology solutions to bring back that kind of values, the green values, to our life. Sustainable lifestyle, freshness, nutrition, and also minimize the food waste. Right now, we are keen to become a really strong data-driven farming technology in the world, where we can interacting with our customers and people. We joined the Cyberport incubation program back in 2018. Cyberport, they are the incubator and also the accelerator in the startup ecosystem. And then they provide various kind of support, including funding, mentorship, coaching, ecosystem building, and also business network and matching. We use remote control system, the sensors, to track and control different type of key growing elements, including temperature, including humidity, water. So in this farm that we have rosemary, lime basil, thyme, coriander, parsley, Italian basil, oxalis, and fennel. There's a lot of things happening in Greater Bay Area. We receive a lot of different type of invitations, including infrastructure collaboration, market penetration, and also R&D.
Most of the time, I go to office by my bicycle. I love research, and basically I'm a researcher. From my research, I understand more how we have a sustainable society, so that will help us to reduce the carbon emission. My name is Gauri Yao. I'm the Director of Project Development in the Hong Kong Research Institute of Textile and Apparels. Hong Kong RITA is a research and development center set by Hong Kong government. Textile recycle and or the waterless dyeing or the microplastic management help the textile and apparel industries be more sustainable. Microplastic actually always already in anywhere from the bottled water and or table salt. So that's a high risk to our human body. We develop equipment to collect, consolidate the microplastic from the wastewater before they release to the environment. This kind of project is always taking about 2 million Hong Kong dollar for each. The big projects talking about can over 15 million Hong Kong dollar. Our research funding comes from Hong Kong Innovation and Technology Funding. Hong Kong government input billions Hong Kong dollar year by year to boosting the innovation in the Hong Kong industries. Applied research needed to be landed in the industry and benefit the society by the real products or the solution. If a company come to us and we clearly identify the deliverable and the milestone, and once we have the funding kick off, the funding is landing in Hong Kong RITA. If the company registered in Hong Kong, and then we will work with the company as a partnership research scheme. That means the company contribute 51% of total project costs, and the company can own the IP, can enjoy massive tax benefit and the 40% cash rebate from what the investment in this research project. I love to do something meaningful, and from there also change myself, the lifestyle.
Great, thank you very much for that introduction. Just quickly, we're going to have a Q&A session later on, so if you do have any questions, please make sure that you note them down, and as well for the people online, we will be able to answer those questions later on. But to start off with, I want to ask Raymond, just...
Hi, Tim.
How are you doing? Just a little bit about, do you want to tell us a little bit about pharmacy, and what have you seen as the biggest growth drivers of your business over the last few years?
Sure. So, hi everyone. So I'm Raymond, co-founder and CEO of Pharmacy. So we are a urban farming technology company based in Hong Kong. Our vision is very simple. We want to cut down the distance between the farm and the people. So everyone living in a highly urbanized city can enjoy the very fresh and safe and nutritious, rich vegetables, growing right here, in the local city. Not only in Hong Kong, but then also, every part of the world, wherever, we have a difficulties of farm accessibility. The reason why we want to do that, because actually it's very straightforward. Let me share with you guys some of the very simple but shocking figures, okay? So let's see this. Just now, thanks for Invest Hong Kong colleagues, have a very, very good video so that can, cut out a lot of introduction. That's some of our original purposes. But once we have, start studying, what's happening in this world, we found that there's a lot of shocking truth, in the world. For example, for many, many highly urbanized cities, they have a lot of fresh food, especially, imported from, different part of the world. And then these food traffic, we are talking about 70% of global carbon emission, a lot of carbon emission come from this food traffic. And then when we say, okay, maybe we couldn't feel it when we are living in Hong Kong, a highly urbanized city, but actually, when these imported fresh food coming all away, from very, very 1,000 miles away, actually there's a lot of nutrition loss during the way. For example, like spinach, some of the vegetables that we always have, right? After 24 hours of harvest, they lost almost 90% of their vitamin A. So we either, have suffering this kind of loss, or we have to use cold storage, to maintain or slow down the degradation. So that's a lot of waste during not only carbon emission, but nutrition waste and food waste, because we didn't really have that kind of local grown control and the supply, which means all the food supply and the supply chain is actually you have to order right away, probably a week in advance, and then come to Hong Kong. So all these type of things will limit the storage type of models. And then you can see in supermarkets, they throw a lot of fresh food every single day. So some of the newspapers in Hong Kong already revealed that in Hong Kong, every single day, 4 major supermarket brands together, they throw 29 tons of fresh food, and 47% of this is vegetables. All right, so it's actually about 14 tons. It's every single day. That's very shocking. So such thing, we make me believe that this city, or actually many part of the city in this world, is not sustainable, basically. So what we want to do is want to speed up that kind of change, because definitely there's a change need. But if we do a traditional type of farming, the need for development, the need for fresh food, we will not be able to keep pace with it. So we try to be innovative by sharing our technology, sharing our knowledge, with people. So that's why, our focus will always be, how to channel out our system and knowledge to different part of the city. For example, restaurants, household, supermarket, and schools. How we can empower people to farm together. Way faster than we build an industrial farm, and then you have all these kind of things together. So our technology will become more focused on how to interact with people. So you can see this. I really love this photo, because it not only talk about our technology to make this so-called the micro greenhouse, which we call smart mobile farm, that can penetrate in different part of the city, but also you can see we define the land use, because in this vending machine size farm, we can grow the plants right away in the city, and also we can supply as well. So which means that we can make the land already be multiple, in terms of use, instead of the cold storage shelf just now, in city super, where they use a lot of energy, to slow down the degradation. So this is something that is actually powerful and make people aware of this. And what we do is not only about doing a technology itself, but then we try to cut down this distance so that people can get the plants out from the farm directly in front of them, and then to gain back that kind of freshness and nutrition, and also pay less, because we actually actively share our space, share our energy, and share our cost, with the partners, and they're willing to do that because in exchange for a better produce, and then also better products and better brand as well. So this is how we start. And I will quickly, go through, about, how we do it, because doing it in Hong Kong and also highly urbanized city is not easy, because we have been, facing a lot of cost issue, like labor costs, logistic costs, and also, land, of course, right? So we have to, introduce right technology to do so. So with this cloud-based and data set platform, we start learning, the environment data from different part of the city, so that we know how to interact with different setting to grow very efficiently, for people to entrust the system to grow in the future. So I will probably first stop from here about, what is the impact that we do. Interestingly, because we have been focused on what will be the true impact that we can create for the city. So we partner with some carbon impact measurement company, to see what exactly we can save, and then we're very proud and very happy to see that after a very thorough calculation, starting from the origin of the vegetables, taking a long haul flight and what kind of carbon that we save. Each mobile farm can save a little bit more than 1 ton of carbon emission per year. It's not a big number, but then we are actually starting from a measurable unit, so that we can imagine, start imagining the future where we not only place one, but then how about 100,000, or how about many others in different parts of the world, not only in Hong Kong. So this is something that we are doing. Then later on, maybe we can share a little bit more, on what we can do in the city to see something like this, placing the farm in different places in Hong Kong, and then in different part of the city, so that our vision is actually happening.
Okay,
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for that, Raymond. So that's a really good intro. 1 ton of carbon is still a ton, so it's still a positive move. But just in terms of introducing Gloria, I wanted to just ask, you were the one who provided me with the statistics around Hong Kong and being carbon neutral by 2050. So I just sort of wanted to get your view on some of the initiatives and some of the programs that are in place at the moment.
Okay, you mean the Hong Kong, the carbon neutrality, right? Okay, yes, just recently I read a report published by Hong Kong government. A little bit surprised me is Hong Kong already got the carbon peak in 2014. And actually in the, after 2014, the carbon emission in Hong Kong just dropped very quickly. The report introduced the strategy Hong Kong launched at this moment. Is very clear identified. It is the net zero energy generation and the energy saving, green building and green transport, and reduce the waste. So I think that's very clearly and precisely identified what's happening in Hong Kong. And that's what makes the things happen. The carbon emissions dropped very quickly. And also numbers of interesting projects ongoing, not from our research center, okay, and it's from others. It's used the food waste to generate energies and apply the soft solar panel to generate the energy. So all of this high impact project significantly help us reduce the carbon emission. So that's happening. And personally, I feel very confident Hong Kong can achieve zero carbon in 2015. And even earlier could be. I'm looking for that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Gloria. I think in terms of overall carbon, there needs to be two-step process, right? One is around quick wins and what we can do today, actionable achievements, and then there is more the longer term or the investment side. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, a little bit around the supply, the demand, and then the ecosystem itself. So I just wanted to start it off with a little bit around, I want to call it the speed of education or awareness, but how quickly this topic has grown over the last couple of years. So anything around carbon or carbon awareness has actually really become a priority issue in these last few years. So I just wanted to understand from yourself, Gloria, what do you sort of see as the biggest drivers of the awareness?
I can share my personal experience, yes. And from 2014, I joined Hong Kong Retail. And after the next year, we kick off a bigger research scheme, sustainability. We would like to help the industry close the loop. And in the process, I understand how carbon emission, how water waste, how that amount huge from our industry. And actually, fashion and the textile industry is the second biggest polluter. It's labeled. So how we use the technology, the innovation, help the industry make the closed loop and make a circularity value chain to help the industry or strive the industry to reduce the carbon emission, achieve the carbon neutrality. So personally, I found I changed my lifestyle very significantly. First of all, I reduce anything I can consume. Okay, I buy less. And every stuffs or the items I use for long term, and I try to repair something instead of buy new things. So I think that things not only happen on me and my colleagues also have the similar symptoms. Okay, so I think that is very, it's the information for the carbon neutrality and the sustainability. It's diffusion in surrounding our society, through the education, the innovation, the technology development, and the media, so everywhere. So I think that's make all of us aware the sustainability, the carbon neutrality importance, and also the policy agreement, and the rules. I think that make the picture more clear, and also is a big force to driven the consumer, the brands, the manufacturer, how to make the things more effectively and the more green, more sustainable.
Okay, great. Thanks, Gloria. And your thoughts, Ryan?
Well, I'm completely agree with Gloria. I think few points to make. I think first of all, of course, policy is very important, but also this is the fact that Hong Kong is still exploring the implementation of such policy, or is still on the discussion stage. But I mean, it was really glad is that so not only on a policy discussion, but this commercial sector is actually moving, especially for those who have resources. So recently, we of course start from something small, in supermarkets, but then in the past 2 years, we have been drawing a lot of attention, from the big corporations across, land developers, well operators, and of course many other organizations with similar type of needs. So they have been thinking like, what can they transform themselves as not only on the commercial sector practitioner, but also, a contributor to the better future, because actually they had transforming their business as well. And then, based in Hong Kong, and then definitely is an international city, they have to face this kind of trend. And so I think what they have been looking for is not only about the policy and content itself. What they're moving is more about the implementable and so-called not only technology, but also the whole model adoption, that they can actually use it to their own users as well, because definitely this kind of awareness change and mindset change and behavioral change takes time. So they need that kind of solution to inspire their own internal stakeholders. And this trend actually come right here. So what we have been experiencing is that after the rollout of a little bit small project, which is like 1 ton or 2 tons of carbon emission because of 1 to 2 mobile farms, we are talking about way bigger, like how to make it 400 tons, 500 tons saving for one investment, and then how to make sense, not only to benefit the corporation itself, but then also producing, very fresh greens, and also at the same time saving carbon emissions, for their own and also their tenants and also their partners. So this kind of innovative initiative is happening in Hong Kong, especially I would see the paradigm shift is actually starting from last year, and then more will come. So I hope this trend, will continue to succeed, and then also, to start channeling out, to other people. And this is exactly what we are doing right now as well.
I think it's great that you mentioned their decision makers. Yes. And Hong Kong is really core because we do have a lot of influential decision makers in this location, which is fantastic. So I just wanted to also pick up on the point where you mentioned a little bit about textiles and apparel. Yes, it is a very polluting industry. I wanted to be a little bit more specific with some of the projects or examples that you're working on at HK Reader.
Okay, thank you. So may I introduce our Hong Kong Reader? Okay. So Hong Kong Reader actually is fully funded by Hong Kong government Technology and Innovation Commission. And the Hong Kong Reader is a platform actually. It is work with industry very closely, and we also work with the university and the research institute very closely. We are good partnership with them. And our research topic included new materials for textile, new fibers, new apparels, and also we develop advanced technology and the clothing processing technology. That means how make the efficiency and the waterless, less water technologies. And also we develop innovation design and evaluation technologies. So we develop the technology, we assess the impact of the products. And also we use the equipment, we develop the equipment to translate the handle or hand feel into digital data to save a lot of communication issues. So we also enhance the industry system and the infrastructure. We develop systems to support the industry. So in detail, we conducted the market-driven applied research. And there are some samples here. Sustainability definitely is our key research theme. And we developed this textile upcycling system in Taipo. It's established in 2018. As the industry scale can standardize the textile waste and auto sorting, and then smart storage and recover the fiber in one site. And also we developed the software display, use low voltage engines can change the color to support the wearable development. And we use AI technology to develop the smarter sorting, so we can identify the garment waste, the garment type, the fabric content, and the color and the fabric structure as well, to support the resale and the reuse, so which can keep most value of the textile waste. So once something cannot be resold and reused, and then we go to the recycle process. And also we developed the one-stop closed-loop garment-to-garment recycle system that's set up in Chunwa, the mills. So it is an educational tool, attracting over many thousands of visitors to see the system, how make an old garment do not end their life, and how to, through the system, to make a new garment, have a new life of the product, the garment again. And also we address the most challenging part in the textile recycled, blended textile, the cotton and the polyester blended. And the conventional method always damages the fiber quality. And they use the green machine, we use organic solvent, can recover the polyester without depolymerization. And the cellulose, the cotton becomes cellulose particle, can be used to regenerate cellulose fiber production. So that's also a very attractive project. And then we develop PFC-free water repellent technology. And the microplastic, actually we develop a number of projects to study the microplastic release from the industry process, and also how we use the sound wave to collect or concentrate the microplastic in the wastewater system, then to collect them, to reduce the microplastic in the marine system. And we have the bio-based recycled leather, and the leather we all of us know is how polluted when produce a piece of leather. So in this project, we use all bio-based material to regenerate the leather from the leather waste. And yes, accepted the sustainability. The textile is our second skin, so we develop a number of projects to study the human body and the textile interactions to benefit our society or human. So we studied the sleeping comfort, provide the thermal and the biomechanical and the touch comfort sleeping system. And also we integrate our performance textile technologies to develop a high-performance sportswear, support Hong Kong elite athletes. So we support the Hong Kong rowing team in the Asia Games and the Olympic competitions. And also we support the fencing team, the famous fencing team. We develop the fencing shoes to support their training and the competition. And all of these things, we cannot make it happen alone. So we collaborate the research institute in Hong Kong and overseas. We partnership with the research institute university in USA, in EU and Japan, and definitely also mainland China. We have a very close partnership and collaboration with brands, international brands and the manufacturers and the sourcing office. And also we work with our community or education or school and the local institute very closely. So Hong Kong is a very active place and a lot of opportunities. So here I would like to welcome all for you join with us, and thank you.
Great, thanks, Gloria. In terms of the background, I highly recommend everybody, if you haven't been there already, go have a look at the Mills Fabrica, which is out in Chunwan. Very, very good insights in terms of different technologies. And as you can see from the work that HK Rita are doing, it is far beyond what you actually see as a community. So it was, what, 51% funded by the brand that would be supported?
Almost, yes, over 30, 40, yeah. And industry, we called it industry contribution, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there is a number of initiatives. If there's somebody who's thinking about a great idea, please come and speak to Gloria about it. There is opportunity there. I wanted to just go back a bit and talk a little bit about pharmacy and a little bit about the data. So we've talked about waste, we've talked about transportation, optimization. I want to understand a little bit about how you're using data to actually create more of an impact.
I think just now we talk about how to save the carbon basically for a few things. The first one is about if we place a farm in the city, then definitely cut down the distance, already save a lot of carbon. But at the same time, it's not enough. That's how we fit in the data. First of all, the growing efficiency will impact a lot, because with this limited space, we can grow more, then definitely, that is a save of the carbon as well, because, the same amount of water, same amount of electricity, and also, the lighting intensity will yield, a little bit more in terms of the production. Then that would be a lot more helpful, in terms of saving. So the first part of the data will be the collection part, where we deploy a lot of different mobile farm outside. So this is not only about a deployed farming site, but also an R&D lab, because we have a different sensors, to of course control the environment, for plant to grow. But at the same time, if we want to do decentralized farming, let's say to put a farm here versus to put a farm in a semi-indoor area, the environment outside, or surrounding the system will definitely impact the environment inside. So which means that, we have a lot of, or actually long journey of learning. And this learning will naturally transform into data where we understand, placing in different part of the city, what kind of, power and what kind of, data that we have to store in to generate that kind of ideal growing environment for the plants to get the yield of the growth. So right now we are placing more than 30 mobile farms in different parts of the city, and then getting the data every day. So this enhancement is substantial. Probably from 2 years ago when we just start, the rollout, we have a little bit of the instability in terms of the germination success rate. It's regularly about 70% or 80%, like roughly 10% lower than the average. But then right now today we are already at 93% and up. So this kind of a successful rollout, already help a lot, in terms of the carbon saving, in terms of the production. And then next will be food waste. Food waste is actually considered a really, really important part of the carbon saving as well. So with this data set, so we can actually grow the plants with a sense of taste and colors and also the shape that we can anticipate, because we're actually learning every day, right? How much nutrients that we put, and then also what kind of colors spectrum that we put in will result in what kind of differences. Just like we are running in a gym and running in under the sun is different, because the build is different. So it means that we can get closer to what the user needs, instead of getting a really standardized product from the factory. So of these kind of things, with also the cut down the distance, then we can substantially reduce the food waste, because people really use it. Okay, so for example, in supermarket, just now we said on average, they got 40% to 47% of waste. It's actually across Hong Kong to others. Even in the pilot that we run in Bangkok with other very top brand supermarket, they also record 47% of food waste as well. And then last year, after the whole year of running, we record roughly 8 to 10% of food waste in the supermarket. So it's actually a substantial contribution here. And this is how the data can help us, throughout the journey. And I hope that, right now we start penetrating the system in school, where the student not only learning the STEM education and technology from us, but also we collaborate with each other to do the R&D. So the data application will be more focused. And then we're actually slotting a lot of data in our data hub as well. So that's what we say we are an urban farming technology driven by data.
So just to sort of build on that, you talk about the demand and sort of where the demand's coming from. You mentioned supermarkets, right. You mentioned schools. What is sort of their big driver for doing it? Is it more the awareness of the availability of the technology, or is it more that individuals are taking it upon themselves?
Well, I think the global trend of understanding the climate change and also the sense of building a better future is actually the starting point. But then the starting point only get us intention to try to explore more initiative. So in different sector, we see a similar kind of journey where people want to learn something related to green. Whenever you say you're green, they will learn more. But then definitely once they adopt, they need to know the real impact. Okay, they don't mind to give you a chance, to try, because definitely they look for innovations, right? But then you have to deliver. They will look at the data, right? Look at data in terms of their own thing, like for example, the value per square feet, in terms of land developers and malls, and then in terms of students, whether they know, about the travel of their learning, how much that they can get, and then what kind of inspiration they can get from your program. And supermarket F&B are actually very direct, like what is the sales revenue, because of the improved products. So what we have been learning is not only about the development of the technology. Like of course we have to deliver something that's very solid. That we need to know how to use the data. We need to know how to use the data to grow good stuff. But then once about this, then we are talking about the penetration, talking about the adoption, talking about the relevance. How you can build that kind of linkage with the end users. So that is the main part. And then, of course, we're still learning. I mean, different centers have different demands. But then, definitely, at the end of the day, we are not only talking about the environmental sustainability, but also the operations and business sustainability to keep things going, to really, to achieve the carbon neutrality of the goal.
Cool, thanks, Raymond. Raymond just touched on a point that I actually think is really important for everyone listening here. There is a direct connection between commercials and business operations and ESG. ESG is not the little team that sort of sits outside the COO's office and just gets pulled into a meeting every now and then. ESG has to be a part of your general operations and the way in which you do business, and there needs to be financial metrics or ways of calculating it that link back to the operations. So talking on that, green premium, so in other words, the amount of money that it costs additional to have a sustainable option. From your point of view, Gloria, what do you sort of see as the biggest areas for where green premium exists within the apparel sector, and what do you think the biggest blockers are to remove them?
Okay. I think for the textile industry, I think the key is the sustainable material. So the technology development to develop something new material is from bio-based, green process, and biodegradable, and low impact to the environment and the animal, to the human body. I think that is very premier to the even now or in long future. So we put a lot of research efforts on that topic. And we also saw the high demand from the industry, so on this kind of material. And also, textile industry, normally we use a lot of water, chemicals, and that's the background is that mean the carbon emissions. So the green technologies, that's mean waterless, less water, green chemicals. So the kind of technology is very important to the sustainability, to the carbon neutrality.
And do you sort of see a difference? Because when I talk to sourcing companies, they'll see a cheaper option, 5% cheaper, and they'll say, as a merchandiser, I don't want to lose 5% of my profit because of I'm using a sustainable material. So what do you sort of say to that?
Yes, actually this kind of balance, I say that it's balance, is actually happening in the industry. What I saw is that brands now, they accept the recycled fiber with the no perfect color. That means that the yarn or the fabric is melange, okay, not the pure color anymore. And also the consumer would like to pay more. They would like to pay 10 or even higher percentage for the sustainable products. That's happening. So I think they need a time period to the industry, the consumers, get a new balance again. So balance the costs, the sustainability, the lifetime of the products. I think that will achieve a new balance.
So that sort of means that a total price increase potentially to the paying consumer, but also a slight reduction for the brand as well.
I hope I can say actually some green technology will not increase, actually will save the money. That's another background is the policy, the new standard, the policy driven. If the wastewater or more carbon emissions, that means the costs there. So as that is the driving force, the brands, the manufacturer, they would like to pay more to solve that issues. So I think that's happening. That's the good news. Yeah.
That's great. And then that's also a volume play as well. So I wanted to ask you, Raymond, about that, not only about the biggest blocker that you see, but also about the volume adoption and how do we really get this adopted at scale?
It's really a long journey, I would say. We do it by phrase. I think echoing with what Gloria just shared, I think especially we're a startup at the very beginning, the scale is definitely limited. And then we also face the same questions, like how to create the values that not only taken that chance given by the interested party, but then make it sustainable for the continuous development is the big topic to us. So I would say, first of all, what we have been focusing on is when we understand that the volume is not there, then the price cannot be go down, for too much. That will be, acceptable by the mass market, right? So at the first place, we have to make use of different things. I think the first one is the premium. Okay, the premium will be like, so if you are to pay, let's say $1 more, okay, how we can help you to create $2 more values. That is the brutal fact that in the phase one they have to do that. Okay, so basically when we try to communicate this, then we are not only talking about the product itself. It's about the product plus the experience, where we can bring that kind of different experience that can help our clients and also the partners to adopt this, so that they can sell it higher without people thinking, just because you're green, just because you're local, and then you can receive a higher fees. It's about they're willing to pay. It's a sense of delight. This is something that we have been focusing on, like how can we make use of our technology to do that. And then once we get that chance, and then once we reach there, then people will come and see, like, then why don't we scale up this sustainability, and why do we scale up this kind of experience? And this is exactly what we have been experiencing right now. For example, in supermarkets, we finally successfully get that kind of bargain, in the stage where in the 2 months later, when we have a relaunch in some of the major supermarkets in Hong Kong, we are talking about 25% of price reduction of our products, because the volume is already here. And then, the thing is like that. And then ongoing forward, we're actively working with so-called resourceful organization where they can actually make use of their land, and then also, on their resources to try to reestablish that kind of connection with their partners and tenants, and then making use of that. Then that will be stage 3, like with the volume and how you can get that ESG and so-called impact measurable, and then get it really inside, because we have to let them understand, like every single thing come with a cost, and then when we have to have in terms of different policies and practices, there will be some ESG impact to create, but then they come with a cost. Then how we can make use of this, to use our mobile farm to save the carbon emission for you, but then actually bundle it in the deal itself, so to make them feel that it's actually not only about the volume, it's not only about the premium, but also the values of the total investment. So that is a very important journey for us. But then this is something that we are trying to make it happen right now.
It's also important for brands and for sourcing officers to think about actually their value or their position in the value chain, and how they can use ESG to actually optimize what they're doing and actually look for cost reductions, value creation, as we say, rather than just cost add-ons. I'm going to ask you a little bit of a trick question. I know that you're involved with the Consumer Council, so I just wanted to understand, is there anything being done from the Consumer Council side of things around initiatives about the awareness for consumers towards ESG and potential price premiums?
Well, I think definitely each year I have been with Consumer Council for a few years now, and every year we are talking about how we can better engage the public to understand some of the key topics. And I think definitely the technology adoption, or for example some hot topics like ESG and just now NFT and all things, right, has been on the agenda. And then always talking about how to make use of the very solid platform from Consumer Council to really not only educate, but then to make people aware the products. We have a lot of research talking about the quality of the fresh food, and then also the quality of different kind of textile and other things, right? So this type of factual presentation, and then to make people really understand how it related to their daily life has been a core focus of Consumer Council. And then definitely this kind of ESG and technological enhancement will be something that has been investing, and then you can see that it's actually happening in these kind of quarters.
And then from a business side as well, just one final question on financials before we move on, but just in terms of access to investments and networks, ecosystems are really important, particularly in the consumer goods industry. We know that Cyberport is a big functioning area, and there's a few other initiatives. So I just wanted to talk a little bit, or understand a little bit about how you go about, for anyone out here, how do they go about either trying to get funding or raise funding within Hong Kong? Because it is a large capital market, and then we do have a captive audience. So what are your recommendations for approaching?
Yes, from our innovation or research industry, Hong Kong has sufficient research funding from government. So from the middle stream, for the applied research center such as Hong Kong RITA, we have the funding for support the middle stream, downstream research. And especially, I would like to say is very important is the last mile development. So from the lab, in our lab, we have very fancy development, but how to translate or landing this technology to the industry actually need funding support. And the Hong Kong government provide the PSTS, Public Sector Trial Scheme, to support, to demonstrate the technology and apply in the industry, landing. And in the process, we have chance to customize it to fit the market, optimize the development. So that is one funding scheme. And also another one is reindustrialization scheme. So also support the technology landing industry. So that is the beautiful things happening in Hong Kong. They have strong support from the government, from the finance. side to promote the innovation, the landing, not only the innovation development, but also innovation landing in the market. So that's the beautiful things in Hong Kong.
Great, thanks. And Ren?
Yeah, I would say yes, a lot of funding, especially in terms of research funding, we always have a very resourceful pool where we can support the upstream research. And then, of course, recently, I think probably in the past 5 years, especially in different bureaus, they have been focusing on how to facilitate the adoption of the technology through also facilitate the commercialization. So there's a lot of funds they are evolving. Okay. Trying to connect the research results with the final products. But of course, I mean, I sit in one of the funding committee as well. Not exactly from the technological sky point of view, but then also more on the commercial expansion to regions point of view. I think there's a lot of funding that can enable not only SME but also startup and also institutional organization to really push their technology and products out. What they have been involving is about the adoption and also the cash flow. Before that, the government mindset has been matching fund. There's a lot of matching fund, right? A huge matching fund. For example, the Agriculture Development Fund is talking about more than 10 millions for one project. But then you have to have another 10 million in your pocket. So it's not easy, but I think that mindset has been changing because they understand, not exactly the matching can push definitely, but also more about the advance payment to make way easier. So you can see a lot more adoption fund coming. For example, the co-creation fund and also the others. So especially on the technological side, so that is actually quite encouraging, and we will see more exciting projects in the future as well.
Great, that's great to see. I want to ask just one question before we hand it over to people in the audience to ask a few. In terms of on the horizon, can you give us a little bit of a sneak peek about what HKRITA are doing around carbon initiatives going forward?
Yeah, we have a serious projects target on the closed loop and also the green chemistry and the biomaterials. So we hope can provide the solutions to the industry carbon neutrality in their supply chain, different aspects, and definitely with partnership with our research partner, industry partner, brand partner, and the public organizations as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. And for pharmacy, what is on the horizon for you and the team there?
Well, so definitely, for pharmacy, we will continue to, partner with, all the different, organizations in Hong Kong. Very glad that we actually to expand our collaboration with the government and also the NGOs as well. And then we even want to, make use of this very precious platform, to go beyond Hong Kong, because right now we are very proud to be based in Hong Kong, and then also, to expand it to the region. Like, for example, next month, then probably we are going to the ASEAN, to visit Thailand and also Singapore, to talk about, that kind of similar expansion there, to adopt, to make use of different models to adopt the technology there as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. At this point, I just want to ask if there's anyone in the audience who has any questions or would like to ask anything to the panelists.
Thank you for the presentation. I was curious about pharmacy, and I've seen some of the vegetables or herbs that you produce. What about the other vegetables that are in huge demand in the market out there? That's where like cabbage, lettuce, these kind have very high demand, and that's where most of the wastage is. And also I'm curious, like, if you are willing to grow in a small controlled environment, doesn't it also take up some kind of energy and other added costs, which is not just financial, but also in terms of carbon emissions, you have it balancing out,
Yeah. Fair. Thank you. Very good questions. I think these two topics, we have been thinking about that too. So first of all, talking about the species, okay, and the wide range of products. What we are providing is not, we are not exactly a city farmer. We are a farming service company where we enable our partners to grow plants in their sites because of the technology that enablement. So what you see from herbs is because our partner would love to use our technology to grow herbs. Not saying that we are not going to grow vegetables, and it is something that is actually also happening when we say the bigger scale rollout of reactivation in supermarket in 1 quarter time. Definitely, we are going to grow more vegetables. Where the supermarket, they already have a good pilot about herbs. And then because they know that the fresh herb will have more powerful taste and flavor that can impress people by saying, the local growing is really good. And right now they're convinced, and then they talk about, a different type of sweet vegetables, for example, like lettuce, kale, and others, right? So this is actually coming, and it's exactly what we are talking about, the journey. They understand, they know, and then they taste it, and then now they participate in it, to help you to grow. So that's point number one. And especially somewhere that probably not everyone can access. For example, some of the private residential projects, some schools, they're actually growing a lot of vegetables, not herbs, inside. Okay, so that's my response to question one. For two, it's even more interesting topic because from day one we know that we're building system. We are using metal, we are using steel, we are using LED lights, right? So definitely the first question why we approach the carbon impact measurement company to really track, because we also have doubts as well. But we're thinking like, okay, so we are definitely building something, but definitely, using electricity, using a lot of different things. So, first of all, what we are trying to do, first one is to really study about, the origin of the raw materials, to transport those materials to Hong Kong, cause carbon emission, definitely. So we have to have that kind of protocol or some of the things, to see the factory to provide those kind of raw material must be, for a certain distance, from Hong Kong. So it's actually to limit the carbon emission created right away. And then, and also, if you look at the lights, why we are placing it in the indoor area, because we want to make use of the indoor area energy that already used. Like here, you feel comfortable, and then we don't need to create another type of energy inside an industrial building, so that each of the mobile phone machines we only use less than 200 Hong Kong dollar per month, 24 hours. Okay, so this kind of adoption is not only about technological kind of things, right? It's about also the operating model, how we can cascade down into different setting in the city. And indeed, when we approach some schools and something, they want to place our mobile farm in some more attractive spot, which is not indoor. We will advise them and consult them not to do so, because actually you are driving out, from the original purpose of saving the carbon. So this type of education happening every day to us, and then we also always remind ourselves how to do it better, and that's how have to work with different research institutions and also our technology team, to continue to see where we can make use of the continuously collected data to make the energy efficiency and also green efficiency better and better every day.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
We got another question from the audience or online? No, everyone's going shy. It's getting towards the end of the day. So just to sort of close things up, the three of us will be available after this conversation to continue discussions. Also, Cindy and Angelica are here from Invest Hong Kong, so that you can have a discussion with them, not only about some of the funding opportunities, but also some of the other initiatives that are out there. We just wanted to sort of end with a couple of topics. Hong Kong has got some policy changes that are in play. So for anyone out there who's working in a brand, these rules are going to be coming into play. So there's initial drafts already out there about some of the rules that are going to be required for Hong Kong listed companies, but also Hong Kong non-listed entities as well in different industry sectors. So please keep in mind that the time to start thinking about action is now. And having great lofty goals is fantastic, but let's make sure that we've got practical plans that sit behind it so that we actually are driving towards targets. So thank you very much for your key points around adoption, around linking the dollar to the operations and also value creation. Can we please have a round of applause for Raymond and Gloria?
Thank you so much once again to our expert panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause once again. To our panelists, and of course to Mr. Edmonds for moderating a session for us. Now please be seated, and thank you very much for the insights. Well, we've heard a lot about carbon neutrality in the panel just now. Tomorrow, we're going to dive deeper into sustainability as we will have our startup day on sustainable futures. So today, our program will end right here. Thank you once again for joining us, and we hope to see you tomorrow. If you require further information, please feel free to contact the team of Invest Hong Kong. Thank you once again, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.